both admin and lectures I had. So now first time I'm fully concentrating on research. So that makes that makes it very easy. So yours is a commerce college? Completely?
Yeah, purely commerce. Mulund College of Commerce, madam.
Yeah, it's a Patel management. Management. Yeah, I read about this.
Last year we celebrated the golden jubilee year of the college.
Yeah, I know, 50 years. Correct. It's a very old trust, no? Pilot.
Yes.
I had done because they had a very good crash run by the Parent Teachers Association at Pale Parle East. So I had done for UNICEF, Government of Maharashtra and Government of India. There was a multi-centric research project about the best practices in childcare as an essential input for women's development. So I had taken one model of that Parle Tilak as a best practice. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Then for educational institution, I had taken TISS. Then Grama Mangal in Koswad, that I had taken for the tribal areas. So that's why I remember that, because I had spent a lot of time as an observer of how the crash is run, school is run.
Madam, as soon as the madam is joined, I just introduced my departmental colleague, Gopika Pal, madam. She is in my Gopika Pal. She is in my department.
Yeah.
One more fellow, that is Arjun Lakhe. He's also in my Dr. Arjun Lakhe is my department, but currently he is not well. So that's why he's hospitalized at a native place. But that's why he will be very much active. And Rajeshri Deshpande.
Yeah.
She's also in the same department, working in the self-financing courses.
Yeah. So yes, it's a big department. Yours is economics is a big department, or it's a department of commerce or economics?
Department of economics. Even when I joined, madam, that time the Rodriguez madam was my HOD.
Correct. There are 2 vacancies in Maniben Nanavati College. The teacher has retired. So one for undergraduate, one for MCom. They need 2 teachers. Yeah, yeah, correct. So,
Good morning, ma'am.
Hello. Hello. Good morning, madam.
Good morning.
Yeah.
Shall we start, ma'am?
Yes.
Madam.
Ma'am, you're muted.
Rajeshri madam.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good morning, Dr. Patel.
Hello, Doctor.
Morning.
Yes,
good morning, madam.
Good morning.
Good morning to you. Good morning, Pawar sir.
Good morning, madam.
Yeah, please start.
Okay. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I request you all to raise for national anthem.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
Thank you, everyone. I welcome you all on to one-day national webinar on impact of COVID-19 on Indian economy, organized by Department of Economics of Mulund College of Commerce. Our economics department has shown a beautiful facet of economics as a subject by conducting various programs such as Oikonomia, One Day Fest, various seminars such as World Seminar on World Population Day, Financial Budget, discussion forums, and so on. This year also department is coming with various activities like PPT presentation, research and analysis, and so on. Now I request our Honorable Principal, Dr. Sonali Pednekar ma'am, to give welcome address.
Namaskar, everybody.
Namaskar.
On behalf of Parliamentary Vidyalaya Association's Mulund College of Commerce, I welcome all of you to this webinar. Dr. Patel, a special welcome to you into the MCC family. For all of you who are already in the academic world are quite aware that Mulund College of Commerce is a lead college, a premier institution of commerce education in the University of Mumbai. Last year, we celebrated our Golden Jubilee year. So we are a 50-year-old institution. We have earned a reputation for ourselves because of our consistent performance in the university examinations, our consistent performance or excellent performance by our students in various competitive examinations, professional examinations like the CA and the CS. Our students have shown that they are well trained to be responsible professionals in India and outside. This year, our parent organization, Parliamentary Vidyalaya Association, is looking at its centenary year. So with a strong support of a 100-year-old parent body and a 50-year-old college, we are taking big strides to welcome or usher in a new era in the world of academics. We had already begun to take baby steps in the planning of how we can bring the synergies of technology into the world of academics last year itself. But the COVID-19 pandemic kind of compelled us to put all of it onto a faster track. I think every one of us is aware of the fact that we have gone through a huge amount of change, especially people, who are already into the professional world or the academic world. For the last couple of decades, we know how things have changed from the times we began to what things are today. So many years ago, 20 years ago, or even 15 years ago, we probably wouldn't have imagined what the world would have been or how it would have looked in the year 2020. But here we are, not only imagining, but experiencing, living, and probably shaping what the world is going to be from now on. So what is generally discussed in the academic world or by society at large is how this pandemic is going to turn our lives, from whether it is from a small little change that we make in our personal lives to the change of policies, regulations, and implementation of those policies and regulations at both institutional level, state level, or national level. All of it is something that we need to understand, that we need to come to terms with, and probably be the channels of implementing all of that. So I'm indeed very grateful to Dr. Patel for having accepted our invitation, and I'm sure what she will talk will be giving a good theoretical base to what we know, what we probably understand, but we have never been able to express it in the right way. We have not been able to crystallize our thoughts or ideas in a manner that a right academician should be doing. So, Dr. Patel, I look forward to hearing your views, because the students who are attending this webinar, or many of us who are also going to be listening to your valuable inputs, will probably be able to get new directions, new thought processes. We will be able to understand the systems better. There should be a lot of introspection in what is going to be happening and how we are going to be a part of the changing world. So with those few words, I welcome Dr. Patel to our webinar, and I'm sure it will be a very, very insightful talk. Thank you so much for accepting our invitation. Thank you.
You set the tone.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much. Now I request Head of Department, Dr. Shivaji Pawar, sir, to introduce today's resource person, Dr. Vibhuti Patel, ma'am.
Thank you, Rajesh madam. Good morning to everyone. It is the great honor for me to introduce and welcome our chief guest this morning. She is an accomplished writer with the several published work to her credit. Titles are some of the works that has international recognition with winning the awards. Her research work has been agent of the social change. So it is really great privilege for me to introduce today's guest, Dr. Professor Vibhuti Patel, madam. Madam superannuated from the TIS Mumbai on 36 2020. Professor Vibhuti Patel worked at the Advanced Center for the Women's Studies, School of the Development Studies, Tata Institute of the Social Sciences from 1st 7 2017 to the 36 2020. After her superannuation from the SNDT Women's University Mumbai on 36 2017. Professor Vibhuti Patel is a PhD in Economics, University of Mumbai. She was awarded visiting fellowship to the London School of Economics and the Political Science from the Association of the Commonwealth Universities, UK in 1992-93. She has authored and co-authored 12 books, edited and co-edited 9 books, and contributed over 100 papers as a chapter in various books edited by others. She has also authored and co-authored 34 research monographs and reports. Her research papers, comments, and the commentaries and the reviews have been published in the national as well as the international academic journals. For APG Pathshala, UGC Delhi, she has been a paper coordinator for Women and Economics, that is almost 20 modules for MA Women's Studies course. She has also been writer for the 9 modules and reviewer for the 11 modules. Video recorded 11 modules. For, of course, for course of the MA in adult and continuing and the extension education, she wrote and presented 4 modules and the videos recorded for the 4 modules. She received citation and the award from Mahila Sangha Bunds Association, Mumbai on 8/3/2016. Citation from the Men Against Violence and the Abuse, that is MAVA, Mumbai on its 20th anniversary celebration on 10/3/2013. Citation when 1 billion rising campaign was launched in November 2012 by Akshara Mumbai. Award for social sector work from the Mayor of Mumbai, Mumbai Municipal Corporation on 8/3/2011. Outstanding Citizenship Award by Women Political Forum of Maharashtra, Sri Mukti Din, 3rd January 2004. Award for the Women Achievers from Young Environmentalist Program, Trust Mumbai on 7th March 2011. The Times Foundation Award for Women Achievers on March 8, 2007. Award for Social Work from the Vanita Samaj Mumbai on 18/1/2008. Award for the Postdoctoral Fellowship from the Association of the Commonwealth University that enabled her work as a visiting faculty at the Development Studies Institute, the London School of Economics and Political Science during 1992-93. She is the member of the editorial board, the International Journal of the Economics, Education and the Development, Switzerland, Bhartiya Samajik Chintan, Indian Academic of Social Science, Allahabad Pragati, a journal of the Indian economy, Delhi, Journal Press India, Social Mandatinity, Asian Journal of the Social Sciences, Ranchi, the Urban World, Quarterly Journal of the Regional Center for the Urban Environmental Studies, All India Institute of the Local Self-Government, Mumbai Quest in Mumbai, Quarterly Journal published by the Gandhi Shikshan Bhavan, Mumbai, Research Horizon, Maniben Nanavati College of the Women, Mumbai, Arthat, a quarterly journal in Gujarati published by the Center of the Social Studies, Surat. She prepared base paper on gender for the Mumbai Human Development Report in 2010, Maharashtra Development Report 2012, MMRDA Human Development Report 2012 for the government of Maharashtra. She has contributed 3 chapters for an expert committee report on the socio-economic status of the Muslim in Maharashtra for the Maharashtra State Minority Commission, Government of Maharashtra 2013. As an expert committee member of the working group on the discrimination against women and the girls, United Nations Human Rights Council, she contributed, prepare a report of the women's human rights changing world work 2020. Even the list is very long, but because of the time constraint, I'm just shortlisted the list. So really, madam, your biodata is very big. Thank you so much. So today we are privileged to have the opportunity to listen her this morning. On behalf of all the gathered here, I welcome you, madam, to this webinar on the impact of the COVID-19 on the Indian economy. Thank you very much, madam.
Very good morning to one and all.
Thank you, Pawar sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, Pawar sir. We all eager to hear Dr. Vibhuti Patel ma'am. I'm sure we all will be enlightened with her in-depth views and knowledge and whatever you read in the CV. So it will be very nice session for all of us. So now, ma'am, forum is yours. You please start. Thank you.
First of all, I would like to express my heartfelt thanks to Dr. Sonali Pednekar, Principal of Mulund College of Commerce, and Dr. Shivaji Pawar, who has been in touch with me. We have been co-panelists also in the webinar in the month of May, very beginning of our lockdown, and HOD of Economics, Dr. Rajeshri Deshpande, Dr. Gopika Pal, Dr. Arjun Lakhe, for inviting me for such a prestigious institution like Parleti. Like I have a fond memory of this institution and the enlightened management of this college. I also see name of my colleague, Dr. Sanjay Fad of PG Department of Economics of SNDT, and all the esteemed participants. Today's topic is about the impact of COVID-19 on Indian economy, and I have a PowerPoint presentation. And here, yeah, is it visible? Madam,
Yes,
is it?
madam.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yes, madam.
Yeah. So, yeah. So we all know that COVID-19 epidemic has impacted Indian economy in a great way, and also the world economy also in a great way. More than 190 countries have been affected by this. So global. So hello, yes. So we had an experience of epidemic. Okay, so we know that India had a major history of epidemics, right from the plague and smallpox, and we also know that the first teacher of modern India, modern education, Savitribai Phule, she and her son also died while looking after the patients of plague in the quarantine center way back in the 19th century. So we also have dealt with India. Public health system of India has also dealt with epidemic of tuberculosis, and also the SARS was there in Asian countries. The Spanish flu, which took away major lives after the Second World War, and also the First World War, also saw that it was the soldiers who were there in the World War. They brought the Spanish flu. So this kind of a pandemic is, and the expanse of this pandemic, the geographical locations of the pandemic, I think that is a very enormous, and that is what has created the massive impact on Indian economy and also the world economy. Now, the 4 phases of lockdown, and we are currently in the 6th phase of unlock period. But still, we are seeing the revival of the economy, except for agrarian sector. All other sectors have not reported a very inspiring picture. And we have seen also the adaptability of the corrupt forces. Every day we are hearing of the rent-seeking behavior from the private hospitals or the police or the hospital staff or the ration shop. They are also doing the black marketing. Or private sector, the transport sector has become so inaccessible. People even in city like Mumbai, they are complaining that how much they are spending. They are spending 3 to 10 times more to reach to their office in this unlock period. So the system has not come to the pre-lockdown period, the kind of situation we had. We are not seeing that kind of a momentum in the economy. In response to this kind of a major economic downturn, that government also gave a relief package, which most of the economists are saying it is an economic package with a special focus on revival of micro, small and medium industries, enterprises. Then the whole question of a migrant workers, India has a 12 crore migrant workers, and we saw the massive human misery that was felt. And most of the cities, like we have 300 cities in our country which are classified for smart city program. And in these cities, nearly 40 to 60% workers are migrant workers. And because of the closure after the lockdown, so
Yes, Hiren sir, I think the madam has disconnected.
Yes, madam has got disconnected. We'll just call her.
Okay, okay, yeah, I'll call.
I'm just calling you only. Yeah.
Maybe network issue.
Sir, you are muted.
Sir, I talked with the madam. She has automatically disconnected. She has not done anything, or even her network, everything is there.
Join again. You told her, no?
Okay. मैडम आप फिर से ज्वाइन करो ना लिंक. हाँ मैडम आप फिर से लिंक ज्वाइन करो ना, लिंक फिर से लॉग इन करो. हाँ ओके ओके या. हाँ सर, I spoke with her. She is joining. Okay.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Anybody is talking?
No, sir. Madam is got disconnected. She will join back. We have already requested her.
All right. Okay, fine. I'm just all right. I thought that.
No sir, just now I spoke with her. She is joining.
All right.
She
All right. Fine.
Disconnected actually.
I think there is some network problem.
Yes.
Last couple of days in the city is reported.
Yes. Yes.
सर उसको उनको पूछिए ना, उनका कुछ प्रॉब्लम हो रहा है क्या ज्वाइनिंग के लिए?
लाइन हो गई मैं।
अच्छा हो गया। अच्छा दूसरा आईडी है सर मैडम आपका, एक मिनट का।
हाँ अभी ये दूसरा आईडी है, अमर जैसानी का है, उसका नाम बदलना पड़ेगा।
Yeah, no, it's I made you co-host, so you can present.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Yes, madam. You're right.
Saying like I'm speaking without PPT. I am now using the laptop. So I think what I was saying, that India has experience and the public health system in India has dealt with the epidemics in past, but now the question of a pandemic, which has really touched each and every sector of the economy, except for the agrarian sector, which has reported more optimistic development. And in response to this major close down of the economy and the downward spiral that happened in the economy, government also declared the relief package touching the 5 sectors, basically micro, medium, small and industries, and also the agrarian sector, because agrarian sector has had a bumper crop, both the kharif crop and the rabi crop, and we need to have a good infrastructure. Agricultural sector has the shelf life of agricultural products, whether it's a vegetables, fruit or grain. We need to see to it that the shelf life increases, and we need more of a food processing industry, food production industry, and also the preservation of the agrarian product. Third sector, about which the government has made a massive investment, is MG Narega. So it's a 20 lakh crore investment, out of which 1 lakh crore goes to MG Narega. And MG Narega, we have also seen that earlier it was the poorest of the poor, those who were at the bottom of the pyramid of poverty, they used to apply for MG Narega. But now we have seen under the COVID virus, even the educated youth and all those who went back to their native place because of the reverse migration, they have also now taken, they are also queuing up for MG Narega. So many state governments have even finished the yearly fund they have for MG Narega allocation, and now they are asking for more. Fourth one, which is the revival of the coal industry and also the defense they have given, which is in no way is linked to COVID issue, and also massive public health investment, which is come to around 50,000 crore, mainly for the frontline workers, doctors and nurses, this thing, and also PPE kits that they need to have, and also creation of a quarantine center and the detection centers, because if you read today's Times of India also, it says that it's only the mask which is going to work, and second one is that detect, isolate, and create more sanitation facilities and the safety measures, health safety measures. So this is only going to curtail the revival of COVID virus, which is we are at the second phase of that. So here the major issues are that when Madam Topandikar talked about theoretical insight. So the theoretical insight is that initially which was the kind of a discourse that was going on, that corona doesn't discriminate between people, but I think social setting and the socio-economic profile of the people and the location of the people, that determines the kind of coping strategy, kind of the workload, the economic and social impact of COVID virus and the lockdown is very differential. So intersectionality becomes a theoretical perspective with which we can see the way corona has impacted middle class. Being middle class, like whatever rules of lockdown you have, is the middle class which is now able to protect itself. Elite is able to protect itself. We are in our gated communities, but who is providing the service? All the services in the frontline services, whether it is a doctor or a sanitation, and also only doctor of the public sector. Okay, private sector immediately closed down their facilities. So that is there.
nurses, ayabais, Anganwadi workers, Asha workers, and all the delivery boys. They are the ones who are providing the services that we have seen. Another major issue that has happened is that of 92% of the workforce in our country is that of a migrant. They are in the informal sector. Now, this informal sector workers, only 6% of the workforce is in the formal sector, which has social protection and social security. So this 92% of the workforce has really suffered the most, because they, right from the month of March, they stopped getting salary. Whatever little savings they had, that is now that they used for their daily survival, and by April end they all were resourceless. So that is what has happened in the agrarian sector. What is the massive distress sale is happening, massive sale of land as well as gold is happening among the poverty groups. Now, the 8 states which are most important when it comes to industrial development, where the migrant workers are very high, they are, say, Maharashtra, Gujarat, Punjab, Delhi, and in South you have Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, and Andhra Pradesh. Now, these states, they have faced, the migrant workers have faced a major tragedy, and the industrial closed down. That has also impacted some of the very important industries like manufacturing sector or tourism sector, hospitality sector. Still we don't see the immediate revival. So it is this major challenge that we have is that of a revival of economy. It is in this context that India is asking the foreign donors to invest in India. They are creating an atmosphere, but at whose cost? Because now we have got 4 labor codes. There are labor codes about the wages, labor codes about the labor intensity, the condition of work, industrial relations, in terms of social security and social protection. 12 states have already abandoned the labor legislations. We had 48 labor legislation, national level legislations, and 200 state specific legislations they have abandoned, and they are now increasing. They have increased the work condition. The intensity has increased. They have stretched the working hours from 8 hours to 12 hours. We see that major, like so many young women from Bangalore garment industries, they went on a strike. There is a tremendous, at a ground level, you see tremendous dissatisfaction that is happening. Following the norms of COVID sanitation, like maintaining physical distance, wearing of a mask, wearing of PP, within that confinement, if you have to do the production, I think that also is very difficult for the workers, for the employees, and even for the employers. So it is under the tremendous constraint. It is not only the major health impact on the population, their intensity, their efficiency, their productivity. That is one major challenge. The second challenge is that of who is benefiting. Like there are industries which are the Fortune 500 companies, out of which 25 companies have had a massive profit. And there is a demand by the world economists that the way at the time of Second World War, there was a special excess profit tax which the several countries had imposed on the company, because there were armament industries, there were the textile industries which are providing the clothes and the uniform to the army. They all were making massive profit. Okay, so this profit making industry, basically currently the most profit making industries have been basically the retail trade, which are providing services through courier, and also information technology, IT-based technology, online platform services. All these company, pharma industries, sanitation industries, all these industries are making profit, while the rest of the economy is facing tremendous problems. Another major change that we are seeing currently is about the 3 ordinances about the agriculture, Essential Services Maintenance, Essential Services Act, that the farmers can directly produce their produce, they can directly sell. That is this, and the monopoly of the agriculture market product in APMC. That has also been challenged in a major way. Now, that has also created tremendous unrest among the farming, especially the states which are totally dependent on the farm sector, especially Punjab and Haryana. Even Maharashtra has said that they are not going to accept it totally. So currently the conflict that is happening between the economic interest of the state and the central union government, that is around the question of GST, because most of the state governments have given their GST, and when the rules regarding GST were passed in the parliament, at that time the promise was given that anytime the state governments face economic distress, center would help them, and that promise has not been fulfilled. So there is a tremendous dissatisfaction among several state governments, and many state governments have also declared that the whole question of a federalism, that you, in a federal structure, you help out each other, that has not been happening. And the agricultural question also, that in the where will the small farmers, agricultural laborers will or the poor peasants will fit into the current these three agrarian ordinances that have come, because it is going to only help the big players, either the large farmers who have a tractor, who have vehicles, who have smartphone, who have a connectivity, who have a forward and backward linkages. They are going to benefit. Even the organization like MAKAM, Mahila Kisan Mazdoor Sangatna, which has its branches in 18 states of India, they have come out with the 3 rapid assessment surveys, which also says that it is the women farmers who have a half an acre of land, 2 acres of land, 3 acres of land, and also the farmers who are Dalits, who are tribal, who are from the backward caste, who have a very less holding. They are the major losers. So it is distress, economic distress we are seeing both in the rural area and in the urban area. When it comes to the tribal population and their economic activities, in Indian rural scenario, we have 11% of the population in our country is that of a tribal population, and they are also suffering in a major way, mainly because we have seen that they depend on collection of forest, 200 types of forest produce, and this forest produce they have not been sold. We have a TriFed, tribal product this thing collection agency of the government, which whether it is herbs or roots or fruits or dry leaves or tendu leaves or haldi or gum, all which is collected by the tribal population and from the tribal people from the forest resources that are also being sold. The tribal organizations have asked for waiving of GST, especially this year, because they have not recovered whatever they have invested in. So that has also not happened. So we are seeing that sectorally also, if we see, it is not only the manufacturing sector or MSME sector, but other sectors also have different implications. Even after India reporting 11% agrarian growth in the Rabi in the Kharif crop, and also Rabi crop also the picture is very optimistic. In what way will farmers benefit? So that is who is bearing the cost of the whole economic process and who is getting the advantages of the economic process. It is the concentration and centralization of economic power that is happening even in the midst of this pandemic. That is a major concern. Now, dealing with the question of recently, many sociologists have come up with a study of who are the migrants who did reverse migration. Ashwini Deshpande's study and even today's article in Indian Express also shows that it is basically the SC, ST and OBC. They are the ones who are in the informal sector. Even if you see the composition of informal sector, who are leading such a precarious life. And also we know that Arjun Sen Gupta committee report had said that this 94% of the Indian workforce, which is in the unorganized sector, they even in that there is intersectionality. 60% of them happen to be a women, and they manage their house even with the 20 rupees a day. Okay, that is the spending capacity and the purchasing power that these women have. So, and globally also, for the World Bank has also said that currently the people who are below poverty line globally, they have also gone down, and their definition is $1.80. If you are able to spend, then you are at a poverty line, and rest of them are below poverty line. So currently the discourse among the economists when it comes to the approach, that what kind of fiscal expansion, where monetary policy is it going to help us, reduction in the interest rate, it may help the investors who have money, who have capital. But what we need in a big way is that of a strengthening of the demand side, and strengthening the purchasing power of the people, so that economy starts moving. You have a production, but people don't have purchasing power because of the loss of unemployment in a big way. Now, even if we see the employment pyramid, among the informal sector is one, but even among the professional class, the journalists, lawyers, nurses, or you can say teachers, even among them, we see tremendous unemployment. If you see currently, there are 399 government supported, like UGC supported universities, and we have around 300 private universities, private colleges. We have more than 5,000 private colleges in our country. So all these places, because of the lockdown, so many teachers have also been employed. So currently we are seeing scenario that people who are educationally qualified, who are competent, they have become redundant in the current economic scenario, because all the colleges, private colleges, have said that unless you bring minimum 5 students in the class, we will not give you salary. So many of them have started being, so there's only one thing which most of the people are doing, whether you are owning a rickshaw, or you are owning a taxi, or you are working in a service sector, or you are running a gym, or you are in a beauty industry, because or you are in a platform based activity. All of them, they can get, either they are selling grocery or vegetable or fruit or whatever vehicle they have, whether they have 3-wheeler or 4-wheeler or lorry or a cart, that's the only economic activity they can do. So the precariousness of the working poor, that and even working middle class, because what now economists are talking about, that okay, government's relief package, or what people call it economic package, is touching the people who are below poverty line. Okay, but what about the missing middle? It's the lower middle class, which was there in the informal sector of a service sector or platform-based economy. We have missed out. So none of the policies, economic intervention which the government has is touching this particular class. So missing middle is the current discussion is going on. And it's also quite, because Indian middle class is sizable. Okay, we have a massive, more than 40 crore Indian who are middle class, who don't fit into the below poverty line thing. They are above poverty line. So this is the population which is missed out in the policy intervention, and they are the ones who are suffering a lot, because whether it is a Garib Kalyan Yojana, which the government of India started in the month of June for 113 blocks in the country, where massive reverse migration has taken place. For the rural areas also, 25 types of schemes which the government has come up with for the rural reconstruction, like creating a massive rural infrastructure, or massive creation of public health infrastructure, detection centers, contagious diseases centers we will have to now start, because more than 12 crore migrant workers, they have gone back to their native place. So in the month of March, had they gone, they would not have carried corona with them. But they all left by June, and so many of them left by July when the Shramik Express started. Even in Shramik Express, 30% of the workers who were in Shramik Express, they had COVID virus, and they took it back. So currently, we are getting the reports that in the peri-urban areas and in the rural areas, you are seeing the incidences of coronavirus, and that is a major challenge, because it's also going to impact the economy and also the public health infrastructure in a big way. Coming to the education sector now, it's online education has become a new mantra. The new formula that has emerged is that 40% of the education through online, another 30%, 20 to 30% face-to-face, or a teacher, the contact with the teacher, 20%. They are saying currently, in the current scenario, 20% working like interactive session with the teachers, and remaining 50% of the education would be vocational education, job-oriented education. And now, globally as well as in India, looking at the Nakabandi and looking at the barriers created because of the demands of the COVID virus, so there is a decentralized, the supply chain got affected. It was not that we did not have enough food. We had enough bumper crop. We had enough buffer stock in the FDI godown, but how to reach it in the midst of lockdown? Everywhere there were barriers. There were barriers between societies, barriers between cities, barriers between rural areas, and that's why uh, maintaining supply chain to if we have to live with such kind of a COVID virus, or even the more and more mutation of viruses taking place. So in future also we are going to get pandemic, and the way globalization has happened, the way the communication between different countries and the traveling has also increased in a big way. So we are not going to isolate, like we have experience of epidemic of plague in Surat in 1994. What happened? Surat had a 55% migrant workers, and immediately the bubonic plague was found out in Surat city. First thing the commissioner of Surat, Mr. Rao, did was that he gave workers 7 days to go back to their native place and vacate the city, because city had it was just impossible to live in a main walled city of the Surat, because it was the plague had as an epidemic had completely devastated the area. But that time transport was not stopped. People could take bus, the migrant workers could take train, and within 7 days the city was evacuated. Massive sanitation measures were taken, so it completely transformed the city. Surat was supposed to be the dirtiest city of Gujarat, and it came out as a spick and span city of Gujarat after the action which were taken against the epidemic. Now, in this time, that could not happen because of the stoppage of the transport. That completely created a situation where people had to live in this thing, and especially the people living in the slums, they live in a 10 by 10 room. Physical distancing was not possible, and also the kind of situation, containment zone, in which people could not even move out for a basic amenities like water or grain or vegetable, and whenever they moved out, they faced tremendous violence from the police. So the new public health emergency has created a situation where there is a massive unemployment. Who has paid the heaviest price of it? 40% of the job losses currently in the world economy are of women. Women were the first to be fired, and now the feminist economists are demanding those who were fired first must to be re-employed first in the post-COVID arena. But that's also not happening. In fact, MG Narega, earlier, it was women-headed households, women who were in the bottom of the poverty pyramid. They were the ones who used to queue up of MG Narega. Now, under the lockdown and after the COVID virus, what we are seeing, it is the men and educated men. Even in Kerala, we have found that men who were engineers, they were also queuing up for MG Narega. And it is the response of the administration is that men have entitlement. When so many men are unemployed, how can women queue up for MG Narega? They are entitled. So entitlement and the whole old rule of economic development that we have seen, women are last to be hired at the time of economic expansion. Whenever there is a shortage of male labor, so when you had in 4 southern states where men workers were migrating to the Gulf countries, that was the time Kerala, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, and Andhra Pradesh opened up job market both in rural and urban areas for women. And the moment they came back, there was a new message that women should be the homemaker and men should be the breadwinner. So the same scenario is coming, and that's why it is felt by all the policymakers are feeling that whatever we have achieved in the post-war period, right from 1940 till 2020, these gains that economy had, the gains that women had, gains that people from the marginalized section and the working class had, all these gains are getting wiped out because of this pandemic. So this is a major thing. And the technology. In what way technology are creating enabling environment? Because now we are talking of future of economy, future of work, Industry 4.0. It's a fourth industrial revolution, which is defined by use of artificial intelligence, use of machine learning, use of robotics in a big way in a manufacturing sector, and it has started entering. We have seen in Maharashtra, because of the lockdown, the sugarcane owner factories, they were not getting workers because the 3.7 lakhs workers who do the inter-district migration to the sugar field at the time of harvesting, they were also caught in the lockdown. So what did they do? All the sugar factory owners, they started taking tractors. The demand for the Kirloskar tractors increased. That's the first time there is a massive, the highest demand for the tractor harvesters. So harvesters have, so the agricultural mechanization got intensified. So we are seeing that small, medium and micro industries are also using the technology in a big way. Artificial intelligence or the robotics are entering Indian market in a big way because of the demand of the COVID virus, because even if you take workers, you just can't have hundreds of workers in the factory. They have to maintain distance. Okay. And these workers, so there will be one worker, one robot. Okay, that kind of a production process now it is being experimented by, because if there are workers will have to maintain distance of 1.5 meter or 1 meter in the factory. Okay, you can't use AC in the factory because AC, the air circulation will be just within that. So the virus will continue to be in the factory. So whole reorganization of the production processes, which is also resulting into reorganization of production relations and massive use of mechanization, automation, robots, that is become name of the game. Also in India, it is not only globally, but everywhere, employers are thinking in this direction. Now, coming to the question of what should be the investment that economy has to make for currently, if we see our investment in the public sector is public health is less than 1%. Okay, the United Nations suggested, and it has been hammering right from the time of India is a signatory to Millennium Development Goal. India is also signatory to Sustainable Development Goal, and the United Nations is making appeal to all the nation states to invest 6% of the GDP for public health. In India, 85% of the health services are provided by the private sector. Okay, right from the colonial times, where the health and education both started as a philanthropic activity. After independence, we saw that so many philanthropists, they surrendered those hospitals and nursing homes to the government, and we had government hospitals. But what we have seen after 1991, the highest investment in FDI has been in the health sector. And this health sector, super specialty sector, super specialty 5-star hospitals, 7-star hospitals, all of them, they have completely abandoned their responsibility when it came to coronavirus. 1 day's hospital admission or a 3 days hospital admission would take away 6 lakhs rupees, or a 1 day's admission. I remember a friend of ours, so she got admitted for within 12 hours, the hospital bills were of 2 lakhs rupees. For a small little certificate from the private doctor, when the migrant workers had to go back to their native place, the private doctors in Mumbai city were charging 2,500 to 4,000 rupees from the workers just to write 2 lines that this person is healthy, he has he is a COVID virus free and is entitled to go to his native place. Just these 2 sentences they were charging that. So currently, and it is not only in our country, all over the world, private interest and private greed of the health facilities and health sectors, health services, they have made everyone realize that under any circumstances, we need to strengthen public health. That is the unanimous opinion that is coming, whether right from the Nobel laureates, economists, or those who are the champions of neoliberalism. Now also, this health and education, these are the 2 sectors which you just can't, you have to invest. There are 2 approaches among economists. One is the human capital formation approach, which was popularized by Nobel laureate Jan Myrdal. Jan Myrdal, You know that he wrote 3 very important volumes, Asian Drama, where he advised the policymakers and the decision makers of the Asian countries that investing in health and education is not an act of charity. It is the fundamental necessity of economic development of the country. Unless you have a healthy workforce, unless you have an educated workforce, and now World Bank is talking about the knowledge economy. Which are the pillars of the knowledge economy? 4 pillars of the knowledge economy. First, excellent, you have an infrastructure, education infrastructure. You have a knowledgeable people who can manage the complex economic of 21st century. You have adequate funding and the resources for the research, innovativeness, and critical reflection. And the 4th pillar is that of a policy framework that you need to have for the knowledge economy. Now, if we are talking in the 21st century knowledge economy, we need to have a healthy and educated workforce. So that is a human capital approach. Another approach, which was propounded and popularized by Nobel laureate Amar Kumar Sen and the Pakistani economist Mahbubul Haq, both of them, they talked about the right-based approach. So right to food, right to health, right to education, right to dignity, and right to human rights. The people's rights are human rights. This approach also demands that investment in education is a fundamental necessity, because if you want to improve your human indicator, development index in the country, because now United Nations Development Program, UNDP also gives the human development index, and World Economic Forum, they are also talking about various index. They have a gender gap index, income inequality index. You have a GEM, gender empowerment index. Now, all these indexes, what are they? Why is India lagging behind? Even India is lagging behind as compared to Bangladesh. You must have seen in last 15 days, so many articles have appeared about why Bangladesh is surpassing India when it comes to human development indicators. Country which is poor in terms of GDP. GDP of Bangladesh is less than that of India, but still its human development indicators are better. Why? Because of the investment in health, public investment in health and education. Another example which is given world over, and the World Health Organization, which is asking all the countries to invest minimum 10% of the GDP for public health, and 6%, which is the investment in the education. Currently, India's investment in education is less than 3%, around 2.8%. Primarily, it goes to the Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan, because Ambani Birla plan, which was submitted to the Prime Minister's office in 2004, when Mr. Atal Bihari Vajpayee was a Prime Minister, said that only primary education is a merit good. So in Millennium Development Goal, universalization of education, when it talked about, its focus was only on primary health, primary education. So up to 4 standards, state needs to give free education. Because of the very deplorable indicators in nutrition, okay, midday meal scheme also was started. School should become the center for distribution of midday meal, so the children get food, the nutritious meal with a high protein diet, which is very important for your brain work, and to learn the subjects like abstract subjects like mathematics, science. It's very important. So that was started. But now the new National Education Policy 2020 has also advised the government that we, like a Kothari Commission, which had said in 1966, that there should be investment of 6% of GDP should go for education. Now, even in that, now we are talking of online education. 8% of Indian children have access to online platforms, school children I'm talking of, and around 25% of college-going students have access to online education. How are we going to reach out? What we have seen in last 8 months is a massive number of students, and now policymakers are not using the term dropout. Dropout is when the child drops out of school. Here, COVID virus has forced out these students because of their inaccessibility of the online platform, either of their school or either in the region where there is no electricity, because we have, even in the most industrialized state like Maharashtra, we have 35% of the villages don't have electricity. So these students are forced out. We have to think of how to see to it that we don't get back, we don't turn the wheels of history in a backward direction. Okay, we have paid a very heavy price right from the 19th century social reform movement, the sacrifices of Savitribai Phule, sacrifices of Maharshi Karve. All this will be will be wiped out if we don't take immediate action of providing and making education accessible. First of all, we have to revive the television based, we know that India used for literacy mission in a big way. In the 70s and 80s, we used Doordarshan. We had only one channel at that time, and we used to have a countrywide classroom in the afternoon from 12 to 4. And all the people I used to, that time I used to do the field work, and I used to see, even in the tribal areas, even in the remotest place, people would be, everyone in the village, there would be one TV set, either in the Gram Panchayat or in some rich person in the village. Everyone would be sitting, this instrument would be in the veranda. All of them would be sitting and learning mathematics and learning geography. And government used to announce, EMRC, Education Media Resource Center, used to announce in advance that this particular day, 7th standard NCERT syllabus would be taught for geography students. So that is, so we'll have to use community radio, we will have to use television channel. We have to request so many private television channels that if you are giving entertainment program 24/7, why just you give 8 hours just for education purpose? We have at one level, we are talking that we have 24,000 courses which MHRD has given under the e-Pathshala. We have EPG Pathshala, we have a Shaksham portal is also there, Diksha portal is there, Manodarpan portal are there. All these portals are there, but they have to reach out. So accessibility is very important. Some state governments have promised that they would give a notepad to the students, or the Gujarat has also started an experiment of a Wi-Fi van which moves in the locality, different localities, so you can recharge your smartphone, or a cheaper variety of smartphone, because now there is a trust deficit so far as the Chinese products are concerned, not only in India, even globally. So for Indian manufacturing sector and Indian mobile sector also, many more opportunities are coming out. So can we reduce the prices? Can the state governments invest in this kind of resources? So I think massive rethinking about, and also the new thing that has happened is a rapid assessment surveys. Things are changing so fast. Like today we are told to write for EPW, but they said, we don't want anything up to July, because we know we have taken enough articles of what happened between March and July and the coronavirus. July onwards, what are the new studies that have come up? So these rapid assessment studies, major ways of conducting the survey. Now you'll have to depend more, and with the demand for a maintenance of physical education, you'll have to conduct your surveys on telephone or on a WhatsApp. Like you can interview, even if you want to have focus group discussion, you can have 6 people in the WhatsApp video. And you can have a discussion. So the new methods of communication also is there for the data agency, because currently the major challenge that we are facing is that massive loss of data. So far as the childbirth is concerned, in last 9 months, only 17% children have been nated. Ministry of Health has only data on 17% of childbirth. What happened to the rest, we don't know. Whether they died, or they were born in the field, or they were born at the home, or whether they were born in the community, who helped them, whether they have been vaccinated, whether they have been given polio vaccine, whether they have been inoculated, whether they have been given triple antigen. We have data only of 34% of pregnant women between April and October. What happened to the rest? Because of the COVID virus, all the maternity wards were converted into COVID ward. Okay, so women did not have any access to reproductive health facilities. Okay, so I think these are the new challenges that we are facing. Sanitation has now going to be getting major weightage in the Indian economy, because we will have to completely change our habits of maintenance of our garbage, our personal habits of washing hands, spitting anywhere, and also the use of sanitation, whether it is a sanitary like soaps and sanitary materials that we will have to continuously use. Now here comes the role of Panchayati Raj institution, civil society organizations, and community-based organizations in a big way in the current situation of this. They've got a lot of public-private partnership, public philanthropic partnership, public and civil society and the government organizations collaboration will have to take place. Then only we can revive the Indian economy. It is not only for the social safety net, but also for the economic growth of the country with human development, and also to attain, along with the social justice, gender justice, and environmental justice, we also need to have economic justice in the our country. Thank you very much. And sorry for this mishap that happened. My rest of colleagues. Yeah, I'm speaking extempore. Okay. Hello, sir, you are muted.
Yeah, Pawar sir, please
Yes,
unmute yourself.
Yeah, thank you, madam.
Yeah.
Rajeshri, madam.
Hello. Yeah.
Madam. See the participants, now the session is open for the question answer session.
Yeah.
So if anybody having the questions, so madam will guide us. Madam, shall I?
Yeah.
Madam, in this pandemic situation of the COVID-19, you already touches almost all the sectors of our economy. So what are the future challenges after the post-COVID situation in case of the Indian economic point of view?
I think major challenge will be that of underemployment, shadow unemployment, and unemployment in a massive way, because the industrial sector, construction sector, even I would say that even agriculture sector are going to use massive automation, mechanization, and this. So I think we will have to revive. India has a very rich heritage of a craft-based economy. So we will have to revive our craft-based economy, and also the Gandhiji's thing about the what he said about the in home rule. This was where he talks about more dependence. Our goal should be of a full employment, and how to make the workforce, the workforce, and especially 40% of the Indian population is below 30. It's the youth population. If we are not able to productively use their energy in building the communities, and in building, like there are so many areas where economic development is very, very slow. So I think using their energy, and also your rural development, major accent will have to be in creation of a massive rural infrastructure. And I think that is going to create more jobs for the people. And also the handloom sector, when it comes to the rural areas, handloom sector is a major employer of women in a big way. So I think for that kind of employment, we'll have to also think, along with the new industry 4.0, which is making a tremendous, it is gate crashing the economy. We also will have to come up with a more labor intensive, craft based, decentralized this thing. And here we can take support of the Panchayati Raj institutions, because currently we don't see Panchayati Raj institution in any decision making power so far as the rural reconstruction is concerned, or the rural, which is the promise made in our Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan. But they will have to pay a center. Both urban areas, urban local self-governments are center stage, because everything is happening through municipal corporations or municipal councils. But similarly, this thing should happen even in the at a ZP level, Jilla Panchayat and Gram Panchayat level. That is not happening. In terms of funds, functions, and functionaries, they have not gained much. and the government, and whatever programs we have for the rural reconstruction or creation of a rural infrastructure, they should play a central role. That way we will also be able to reduce rent-seeking behavior and corruption and the leakage. In fact, whatever resources which are allocated, Panchayat knows each and every person. Panchayat members, they represent all state groups. So I think if they are active and they are given power, mandated power by the state, then I think whatever goals of Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan are, they can be more efficiently and effectively implemented.
Thank you, madam. Madam, one more doubt in my mind. You just now talk about the say government already means the labor legislation laws already abandoned in case of the national level 48 and state level that is 200. So on one side we're talking about the increasing the employment level or the opportunities after the pandemic situation, and another side if the government already starts abandoning these all the problems, then how is it managed?
That is why I think all trade unions, all central trade unions, including the ruling party's trade union, they made a representation to ILO, and there was a demand, and they said that India is signatory to decent work concept of ILO. We all remember that 2019. In 2019, ILO completed its 100 years of existence. It was a centenary year of ILO, and international India is signatory to the concept of decent work. What does decent work involve? Decent work means that you have a standard, labor standards. What are the labor standards? After 200 years of collective endeavor in the history, human history, 8-hour standard, the formula of 8 hours of work, 8 hours of leisure, and 8 hours of rest. That formula was accepted by the global community, that this you can't take work for more than 8 hours, okay? And now you abandon that, and because of the use under the cloak of COVID virus, you just say that now, as it is, COVID virus has made all, it has reduced efficiency of workforce. They have been exposed to infection. They have been exposed to irregular food because majority of the working class also had a problem because of the lockdown. So many of the nutritional standards has gone down drastically. That WHO is saying that world over nutrition standard has gone down drastically not because there was no production, but because of the disruption of supply chain. Things could not reach people. So some people got only carbohydrates, some people got only protein, some people did not get any poverty groups never got micronutrients, okay? Just khichdi being distributed by the state. It gives you carbohydrate. It doesn't give you anything more. So it is, as it is, the efficiency and productivity of and the morbidity of the population is also, workforce is also increased. And you make them work for 12 hours and this thing. And even when it comes to the wages, what does the new code say? 16 states in our country, they have minimum wages more than what wage code is talking about. Okay, so even the states which don't accept the wage code, they said we will not accept the wage code. They will be giving more wages because in Kerala, minimum wages for the skilled, and they have divided the workers into skilled, unskilled, and semi-skilled. So skilled workers in several states, skilled workers' wages are 600 a day. Semi-skilled workers' wages are 400 a day. And unskilled workers' wages are 200 a day. And in the wage code, you are saying that you have to 185 a day. That is the, so whatever has been achieved by the Indian working class in the post-independent, right from, I would say, pre-independence period, because most of our politicians were the trade unions, no? A trade unionists in the pre-independence period. So that has been wiped out. So when it comes to wages, when it comes to labor intensity, occupational health and safety, it is not a mention of sexual harassment at workplace. World Bank has also said that the sexual harassment at workplace is the most devastating occupational hazard of the 21st century. There is no mention of that. Throughout all 4 wage codes, the language is he, him, and his. Nowhere they are talking about she, her, and her.
Absolutely.
So when you're in your punch of a worker also, you are seeing only men. When you are discourse on migrants, you are only talking about migrant men. Though there are in my PPT, I have taken the picture. I have taken the pictures from which I received on WhatsApp, and there are videos and pictures which show that 3 crore Indian women also had a reverse migration. Our data on migration, when it comes to men migrating for work and education, when it comes to women migrating for marriage, do you think that even after marriage, woman doesn't work? If woman from Ratnagiri comes to Bombay, she works as a domestic worker. She works as a teacher after marriage also. But our conception of women in the workforce is that she's just a wife of a worker. When we talk about the women in the farmer's family, she's either a farmer's wife or a farmer's widow or a farmer's daughter. But she is also a farmer. Okay. But you don't even acknowledge that. So the whole category of workforce, which doesn't even get the status of a worker. When you don't get the status of a worker, you don't get benefits of Kisan card. You don't. So many industries have a Jodi system. Construction worker has a Jodi system. Naka workers have Jodi system. Sugarcane industry has a Jodi system. You know currently why child marriages in Maharashtra have increased? Sholapur, why it is? In whole of Sugar Belt, yesterday's child right organization's newsletter shows that in whole of Sugar Belt, there has been girls who have been married at the age of 12 and 13 because of the Jodi system. Unless she is a part of a Jodi, she can't get the job in the sugar farm. Or she can't get the job in the farm sector. She can't get job in the construction sector. And that's why the girls who had to drop out because of the online education. There is no access to online education. They have been sitting at home for months together, and now there is so much of poverty and starvation and deprivation that parents are marrying them off, and they are also they can earn. So child marriage is so it is the impact of economic devastation, the social, cultural impact is also very, very important that we need to understand. And how these children who have been who have been forced out of education system are going to be less productive. They will always get a job which is the lowest productivity job. They will always be the precariat in the workforce. So this we have to see in a long-term implications of all these things that are happening. Third labor code, which talks about the social security and social protection. Now, in social security, social protection also, it is not following the same formula which the state governments already have in terms of, say, social. It talks about the new schemes for the vendors, that vendors who have lost out their business in the lockdown, they will be given 10,000 rupees. So, but for the paperwork for all these schemes is so high. Majority of the vendors, they say that we have not been able to benefit even from this little 10,000 rupees to restart their business. So when it comes to the informal sector, the problem that we are facing is that total dependence on the Aadhaar or this thing or election card or the around 18 to 20 documents which are demanded. So that means you are leaving out most of them. Even for distribution of PDS, it was so many civil society organizations and the human rights organizations had to file petition in the Supreme Court that please, for them, just don't ask for Aadhaar. People are starving, they are dying. Don't you see that they have lived in this place for 80? Most of the migrant workers had their Aadhaar and all the documents because here they live in a rented place. 8 to 10 migrant workers stay in a small little koli. They don't bring their documents. The documents were in their native place. They were with and they did not have it. So demand for these documents also created so much of human misery. And in this labor code also, the question is that of the basic gains which we have had in last 70 years, they are also getting wiped out, and it also takes away right to unionize. For coming 3 years, some state Gujarat says that for coming 3 years in the MSME sector, no unionization will be allowed. Workers can't go on strike. How many grievances they have? In fact, so many women workers in the special economic zones, in the export processing zones, even in Bangalore, there are no toilets for girls. There are no change room for girls. And you want these girls to work for 12 hours in the factory. So all at the shop floor level, so much of discontent is there that cannot be channelized to the negotiated settlement. So that is also a major ground. So 4 labor codes, that's why you see at first time, like the labor minister of our country, he said that no, we are not going to abandon our promise to the ILO. So that is the only hope that we have, because of the international pressure that we have. And the same with the agrarian sector. So many state governments have rebelled that we are not going to implement 3 ordinances. It will completely ruin our farmers will end up committing suicide. The whole farm sector will be destroyed if we implement the ordinance. Even Maharashtra has said we will not do. Rajasthan is followed. First, it was Punjab, which came up with its own state government ordinance. Rajasthan also saying that we can't do. We just can't kill our farm sector. It's going to corporatize our agriculture. It will complete commodification of agrarian sector, and major losers will be the majority of the farmers will be the losers. So we are seeing a lot of discontent, and in the federal structure, a lot of turmoil is taking place. Yeah.
Thank you, madam. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
There is one question in the chat box.
Yeah. Ma'am, how can the Reserve Bank of India play an important role individually and also helping government in directing Indian economy to get back to track post-COVID pandemic? In fact, that study by the ex-governor of Reserve Bank of India and also Dr. Mahendra Dev, director of IGRDR, they have also said that we need to strengthen the demand. Okay, so we need to give a purchasing power to the people, and all of them are asking for the direct cash transfer to the poor, because their calculation says that they should be given 150 a day. That means 4,500 per day. Trade unions are asking for 7,500 per month. That means 250 rupees per daily wages should be given. So that should be cash transfer. That is the demand to the poverty groups. So currently, what the Janadana account of earlier, the promise was of 500 rupees, which also the rapid assessment study said that it had reached 70% of the below poverty line group were not. They had not received Jandan account. So the money is parked in the Prime Minister's fund, in the state government, the Chief Minister's fund and all, but that money needs to be channelized. And for that, the procedure has to be streamlined. Main thing is that the networking between different state governments, networking between state and the center, and also local self-government bodies, they also need to network with the state government. And now it is possible, thanks to information technology, so many things, documentation has been centralized. It's a click away. So it's a question of a political will. So once you have a political will, you use this system. System is there. Money, resources. In fact, whenever we attend any meeting of the think tank of the government, they say there is no shortage of funds. There is no shortage of resources, but how to reach out? When the Labor Ministry says that they don't even have data on how many migrants are there. We have an Interstate Migration Act. Why wasn't it used? That is the most violated act. We could have avoided the tragedy of the migrant workers had we actually implemented whatever provisions which are given in the Interstate Migration Act had been implemented at the time of lockdown. We would have avoided the tragedy, but that did not happen. In fact, even when the employers and when the state governments from one state, from workers from the Delhi had to reach UP, they were not even allowed to enter. Their buses were not even allowed to enter. Shramik Express, it took after so much of mobilization, so much of private civil society initiative, that the Shramik Expresses, more than 300 Shramik Expresses took back the workers. But by then it was so late that all these workers themselves were also infected with COVID virus. And they also were quarantined there for 14 days. And then they were in they also became responsible for taking COVID virus to the places which were not affected at that time. So I think immediate action. In Asia, among the Asian economy, the discourses are that there are countries which are saying that let us wait. And there are countries which are saying that act immediately. So I think and same thing can be said even about the Indian states. We have a state like Kerala, which was prepared way back in January, month of January. They were totally prepared when the first student in December came from China to Kerala with COVID virus. The first thing they said that first detect, contact tracing, isolate. This formula they stuck to, and they were able to contain the disease. But other states they waited. They waited till March 25th, and India also gave only 4 hours for the people to cope up with the new life under the lockdown. Only 4 hours were given to manage, to reorganize the life, and some middle class could manage. Those who were in a gated community could manage, but they were on the back. They were riding on the back of the working poor, and also the missed middle, low middle class. So I think RBI is also in favor of fiscal expansion, because it's not only monetary policy or reduction in the interest rate is not only going to create them, because even you reduce interest rate, investment increases, production increases, but who will buy those produce? Okay. Most of the countries in the world, in Asia, we believe in a multilateral trade. But does African population has capacity to buy whatever Indian goods are produced in current situation? All countries are affected. It's the pandemic. It is not that some countries are flourishing, which will buy our products. That's not the scenario. So I think giving purchasing power, putting money in the hands of people currently is very important. And all the policies which are based on fiscal expansion, in fact, the gender responsive budgeting, that is the demand of the feminist economists have demanded, that what we need is a gender gender equal, the financing for gender equality. That is the new slogan that has emerged among the feminist economists, that they are the ones who have to provide meals to the family. So why not put money in their head? So fiscal expansion, which even RBI, so many economists from RBI are also recommending.
Thank you, madam. Madam, a few more questions in the chat. Our students are very enthusiastically listening your lecture. They have the doubts.
Yeah. Even in the pandemic, some companies managed to earn large. That's what I said, that companies which are pharma industries, sanitation industries, then FMC, fast-moving consumer items, those industries, food production industries, food processing industries, and IT industries, platform-based industries, they have made massive profit. In fact, Economic Times, every 15 days, you get a list of industries which have made massive profit. Because there is a demand. Under the current situation, these are the demands. There are health products are going to, in fact, so many companies which were earlier making alcohol, they have now diverted. They started making sanitizer. So many companies which were earlier making only the soft drinks and all, they are using their plant to make some of the pharmaceutical products. Okay, so that is happening. So many cosmetic industries, whether they were making Ayurvedic products and all, currently they are making Ayurvedic medicines. So this kind of adjustment have taken in last 8 months. So these are the companies which have made massive profit globally. Like we said, among the Fortune 500 companies which are listed, 25 companies have made bumper profit. That means especially the IT companies, pharma companies, sanitation product making companies, and also the fast-moving consumer items, especially the food products, and also the products which last for a longer, where the processed food, tinned food, packaged food, those companies have also. So agro business have also profited a lot globally. And that's why there is a demand that these profit-making companies should be charged. They should pay more, which is the extraordinary profit which they have got. So they should also contribute in terms of extraordinary income tax. Taxing them heavily, that is the demand. Ma'am, as you mentioned, only about 8 to 25%, 8% of school children, 25% of college-going children, they have access to online education. And that's why educationists are demanding that we should use various methods We should use television channels. We should use, like, I think BMC has already started. BMC has started using television channels, and they are also sending WhatsApp messages that which class will be taken, mathematics, science, English, Marathi. So all these classes, plus most of the state governments have uploaded the books on their government portal. In the like all the state government boards, they have this thing. NCRT has already uploaded all its textbooks on the for the Kendriya Vidyalaya. So people can download this PDF file of the textbooks. They can study, but only when it comes to the area where you have interview. So we are promoting both synchronized teaching and asynchronized teaching. Asynchronized teaching is done by deprivatizing the textbooks, putting up the textbooks in a public domain so that anyone can access it. But synchronized teaching, you need teacher, because teacher is a mentor. Teacher is so many things where the teacher and especially the first generation learners or those who don't have any educated person in their family, they constantly need guidance from the teacher. So that formula is also there. And if you see in the Bombay slums, everywhere, like they have hired the local teachers and the tuition teachers and all, they have hired 20 by 20 room. They are taking students, 8 students in one room, maintaining 1 meter distance. And this thing. So reorganization in so many villages, the panchayat students are coming in batches in a panchayat office, because that's one thing. Or when it is not raining, they sit under the tree, they sit at a 1 meter distance. Teacher has to take several sessions. So many parents in rural areas who don't have money to pay for the tuition, they are paying in terms of grain, vegetables, fruits, whatever local products they have, chicken, or any kind of grain that they pay to the teacher. So a lot of barter system is also come. The teacher gets goodies, the commodities, and students get education. One thing which is very important in a current situation, everyone has realized, in today's society, in today's economy, you can't survive without education. Even to use simple mobile, even to use your simple smartphone, basic numeracy and basic foundational literacy you need to have. That realization has come even among the poorest of the poor. They are ready for anything. Only when they just don't have any other resources, when they are on the choices between starvation and work, they force their children to go for work, because otherwise when will the next meal come? So I think education, this is a major challenge. We'll have to go for, and we already have, like when it comes to the Indian culture, we are used to Shruti and Smruti, right from the Vedic times. We used to listen. Like you see Bhaskaracharya, how did he teach Lilavati mathematics? Bhaskaracharya, the doyen of mathematics in India. He taught his daughter Lilavati all the things about summation and subtraction and multiplication and division and computation, all he taught through shlokas. So that one thing, oral tradition, we have to go back, very important. And second thing is they depend on the transistor, FM radio, community radio, because community Department of Science and Technology has been promoting community radio in the rural and tribal areas, and so many tribal organizations have been doing that. I have seen in Jharkhand myself how the young 12th pass or a 10th pass child, student, youth would run a community radio in a Jharkhand and inform. They would have a slot. I have seen also in Kutch, Ujas radio, which is a jurisdiction of 200 square kilometer. Because in Kutch, because it's a desert, there are no trees, there is no obstruction. So the reach of their radio is also very wide. They use the radio for all kind of economic activities. They inform the farmer that look, 8 kilometers away from your village, same potato is being sold for 10 rupees per kg. So don't sell your potato for 10 paise per kg. Okay, just hire a tempo and go all the farmers, you stuff your potato there and go and sell it in another village. I have seen in Kutch where the fodder is available. They inform the farmers, they inform the shopkeepers, they inform the people who are producing handicrafts and cottage industry products. They inform the tribal people that whatever forest produce, whether it's a tendu leaf or a gum or a lac, whatever they have collected, where will they get the best price? So I think those things have been, NGOs and the different panchayats have experimented this. Only thing now we need to replicate it. We need to amplify this. And how can we amplify? Only when we share. These micro experiences, they need to be shared on a platform like this so that more people get idea that how to get. Had we not got the report of starvation deaths in Talasari, which happened under the lockdown, we would not be able to reach, because it's not far. FCI godowns are in Borivali. Okay, it's just 40 kilometers away. And when you see that in so many tribal hamlets, people were starving because PDS had been disrupted due to COVID virus and due to supply chain had been disrupted. People were just starving. They were managing their meals only with the tamarind leaves, boiling tamarind leaves in a dirty water. Even the safe drinking water was not available there. And that was the reasons for starvation deaths in that area. So information is very important. So sharing of this information, sharing of best practices, why certain states have done very well in containing COVID virus, why certain states where the politicians were accessible to the people and the civil society organization, they could address the emergency situation or creation of a camp for 6,000 workers. When the workers from the B1D, 12,000 workers, they said, we want to go back. We are not happy with the khichdi which is given to us, which is nothing but a PDS rice and tamarind and salt. And day in and day out, we can't eat. We have become weak. We can't work in this looms. Immediately, people intervened, and then they started the camp. Cooking, the community kitchens were started with a balanced diet, and problem could be addressed. So I think it's very important that in the area of education also, various innovative techniques can be this thing, because now we have teachers in the private sector. They are completely unemployed. They are totally unemployed, whether they are in schools or whether they are in private colleges. So they have a talent. They are used to teaching. Only thing, can we create decentralized models? Can we, where there is a community organizations, neighborhood organizations who take the responsibility of giving the survival, basic livelihood needs of the teachers so that they can. And in the rural areas, in several places, Panchayat has played role in seeing to it that all the teachers, they get support system. So so we'll have to come up with that, and the state will have to play a very important role. They have to invest more resources, minimum 6% of it. Delhi government, Delhi state can have 10% of budget, Delhi budget for the education. Why can't other states? It's a question of will. We need to have Kerala. 40% of Kerala state budget directly goes to Panchayat. And within that, Panchayat for social sector funding, education, safe drinking water, health, and the capacity building of the SHGs and all. And then you can see the result. They have been able to contain this emergency situation in a better way. I think we need to do both advocacy as well as come up with the immediate action plan. How can we, as an economy, effectively increase inclusion of children belonging to lower middle class majority group in quality education, as they do not have much economic relaxation when it comes to fees, and hence they have at times to compromise their educational rights. So I think that's why I say that more and more civil society organizations will have to come up, and we all will have to pitch in, because now at least the educated parents they are roped in. They are working from home, and they are also supervising their, mostly women, educated women are doing that. They are supervising their children's homework, online classes and all. But I think both the teachers who are currently unemployed, for them we will have to come up with a very concrete action. Local self-government bodies and the civil society organizations will have to come up with basic survival necessity, and only including below poverty line population only for Atmanirbhar Bharat Yojana is not going to work. This missing middle, which is educated, which is skilled, which has played productive role in the economy, we need to come up with the program and schemes even for this missing middle. And then we can channelize their energy and talent and skills and educational proficiency for human development and human resource development. Banking Regulation Amendment Bill 2020. What are your comments on the new bill? Since cooperative banks provide banking facilities to people of small means, however, the absence of regulatory oversight by RBI on par with the commercial bank has contributed to poor performance of cooperative banks. Cooperative banks have been neglected in a big way, and also the system are also not based. Some cooperative banks have behaved irresponsibly, but for that, you just can't completely attack all the cooperative banks. And I think we need the support because they started with good intention, and various sectors also, like you have a sugar cooperatives have their own bank. You have Mandesh Mahila Sakari Bank. You have the Sakari Bank of various region specific necessities. And these cooperative banks, their network is much more, wherever the commercial banks have also not been able to reach out, especially to the rural area, to the working class areas, to the urban slums, to the tribal areas, cooperative banks have reached. So we need system, we need rules and regulations and code of conduct for the cooperative bank, more transparency for the cooperative bank, but they should not be robbed of the power that they have. And NABARD is there as a government sector bank, but I think NABARD also needs to liaison and network with these cooperative banks. Yeah.
May I ask one question, please, madam? This is Principal Madam here.
Yeah.
We had actually, I'm asking this question on behalf of our management president of the Palliative Vidyalaya Association, Shri Anil Ganu sir, listened to you, but he had to leave a little early, so he had put a question. Can you also enumerate a few measures introduced by the central or the state government to boost the economy?
Yeah.
Yes,
so I think central government's major first thing that came was a Atmanirbhar Bharat Yojana Abhiyan. That was a 20 lakh crore. That is very important. After the reverse migration phenomena happened and the Supreme Court of India reported that at that time, 2.3 lakh workers were on move. They had to traverse a very long distance, some 200 kilometers, 600 kilometers. Those who went to Assam and Manipur, 1200 kilometers. That is the time Garib Kalyan Yojana, that once these workers reached their extended family in the village, and there also the situation was as bad as a result of lockdown. They were also not doing very well. Garib Kalyan Yojana, in which the 25 schemes with the government suggested in terms of the rural reconstruction, creation of COVID center, creation of contagious disease center we need, because now there are predictions that our planet will have to live with such kind of pandemics and epidemics. So we need to be prepared. So disaster preparedness, so it's not only the natural disaster and man-made disaster or disaster like tsunami, earthquake or floods, but this disaster of a viral infection also will have to. So this was another very important package that came from the central government. Several state governments came up with their own package in terms of free distribution, like Andhra Pradesh, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Maharashtra, Jharkhand. They also came up with for 3 months free distribution of ration from PDS, public distribution system. Not only rice and grain, but also oil, pulses, and soap, because sanitation for sanitizer, and also soap. So these kind of packages were came from the Chief Minister's relief funds. They were declared that. Another thing that Indian Railways, it also said that the in Shramik Express, when reports were given that these workers had to pay for their ticket, immediately the railway minister said that no, Shramik Express will not be charging. Only thing, they'll have to get the paperwork, they'll have to get the clearance once, they have to get the letter from the local medical officer. And the police clearance and the medical clearance were that they were fit to travel. Only that much was demanded, and the whole system was created that way. And everything was online. The documents had to be submitted online. So railways, they also pitched in terms of transporting these workers. And also some state governments, they said, because after when the thousands of workers reached those native places, that they were also in a near starvation situation. And many of the employers started approaching them back, that they wanted, especially the construction industry in Bangalore, construction industry in Hyderabad, construction industry in NCR region, and infrastructure industry in Delhi and NCR region. They were ready to bring back these workers either by plane or by Volvo, train, bus, and a train. At that time, also state government, they said, okay, they would do the speedy clearance. Another thing which three governments did was Gujarat government collaborated with NGO called Ajivika, and Jharkhand government, they also collaborated with Jivika, and Uttar Pradesh, they did the manpower planning. And they also started doing the mapping of the talents and mapping of the skill mapping of the migrant workers who had come back. The macro analysis of reverse migration, where the person like Professor Irudaya Rajan and all, they said that their prediction was that 30% workers had not gone out of total migrant workers, where the employers were kind, employers gave them ration, employers gave them their salary even under the lockdown, and employers were taking care of their health needs also. These workers did not go. So all workers were not villains. 60% were indifferent, but 30% employers, 70% were indifferent, 30% employers who were caring of their employees, they did not go back. These 60% workers who went back to during the reverse migration, they out of which they said around 30% will be absorbed, because there are these migrant workers were from 8 states and 120 blocks of our country. Now, the blocks in which they would be absorbed either by MG Narega or Garib Kalyan Yojana, because these are the workers, most of them have worked under very competitive labor market situation of the cities. To work in Hyderabad or to work in Bangalore, working in Mumbai, working in Kolkata, working in Ahmedabad, you need to compete. In Surat, they have worked in a competitive environment. So for them, adjusting to the village situation where they can use their skill as a carpenter or fitter or turner or machine operator would not be difficult, provided there is investment in those places. So if the government invests in creation of rural infrastructure, in creation of more COVID centers, more isolation centers, more containment zones, more community kitchens, because community kitchens, so many state governments have continued. Even in Bombay, currently BMC community kitchens have stopped, but NGO community kitchens are continuing, and BMC is supporting them by giving them tanker water, clean water, and under Ujjwala gas cylinder also. So this public-private partnership is taking place. So these 30% won't come. 30% who will come back in the cities. About that, also the kind of rules and regulation, because they are not even calling it code of conduct. They are calling it curfew. The moment you call the situation as a curfew situation, police gets the power to beat you. Lathi, goli, bedi, jail becomes the norm. And if this happens, then the workers, it becomes very difficult for the movement. It becomes even difficult for the supply chain. You are carrying your milk, you are carrying your truck, and if the police stops you, your things get wasted. So this has to. So the economic efficiency, to increase the economic efficiency, also what you need is a human rights situation. So for time, in the month of September, National Human Rights Commission constituted 21-member expert committee to audit and to document types of human rights violations that has taken place under the lockdown, to prepare for the future. That what kind of system, because see, bureaucrats and the officials will go by the rule book. So what kind of rule book you need? If you keep the ambiguity, and if you give advisory which is contradictory every day, every other day things change, people also get confused. even we get confused. Even when we note down everything, we get confused. So they said that we need to create that kind of structures and mechanisms where efficient and the smooth functioning of the workers took place. Even when the workers had to report for the work, like so many workers, they got the show cause notice. Even BMC workers who were staying in Palghar and Kalyan and Veera, they could not report for the work after unlock. You have created only unlock, but have you created the same kind of a transport system? So that the workers can go from, if they can't walk, even if they walk, it will take 3 days for them to reach the office. No? So synchronization of the rules and the support system is structures and mechanisms that becomes the major challenge for the economy.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, madam. Rajeshri, madam, please proceed ahead.
I had made such a good, excellent PowerPoint presentation.
Yes, ma'am.
I think, madam, if you could just share it with us, send it across by email to Dr. Pawar.
Yeah. Earlier, I used to do self-email, no? But this is, I'm so continuously on this, I never accepted it would call like this, no?
But I think it was excellent. Your presentation was excellent. Wonderful overview of what you gave us.
Anything, no data, paper, nothing. I'm just speaking. Yeah.
No, but I think, ma'am, as a social science person myself, I think the point that you made, very valid point that you made, is one cannot think of any one of these things in isolation.
Correct.
Socio-cultural and economic conditions.
And demographic also.
Demographic, absolutely, must go hand in hand, and they will always impact one another.
Correct, yeah.
So I think in that sense, it was very, very well put. Rajeshri, madam, it's all up to you now. Please continue.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. It was really a wonderful session. Now I request Gopika ma'am to give formal vote of thanks.
Hello.
Hello.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Afternoon.
Good afternoon to everyone. It's my honor to propose vote of thanks to one and all. I really want to express my deep gratitude towards our most revered Professor Vibhuti Patel, madam, who has privileged us today by sharing her deep and great knowledge. Thank you, ma'am, for being here.
Thank you.
I also thank your principal, Dr. Sonali Pednekar, ma'am, to Vice Principal KG Rajan, sir, and our Head of Department, Dr. Shivaji Pawar, sir, and all the teachers, participants, and the students, without whom this program, this webinar would not be a success. So, as we all know that ma'am has pointed out so many aspects that we are going through it. So, how this pandemic has affected our economic as well. So, let us all lend our hands by staying safe and following all the safety protocols. Thanks again. Thanks once again for everyone. Thank you.
Yeah. Please accept my heartfelt thanks to all of you, especially Dr. Sonali Pednekar, Dr. Shivaji Pawar for inviting me and giving this opportunity. And I think we sailed through in spite of this thing. That my first time my computer is completely collapsed. So, but we managed it very well. Yeah.
Thank you so much,
ma'am. I can only imagine how more interesting it would have been had the PPT been there. But even without the PPT, you were able to, you very beautifully held our attention. Because see, the way you presented and what you presented, both had a fantastic impact.
There were so many statistics and bar chart and pie chart.
But that's wonderful.
Okay.